Hey, folks, welcome to InTheMoneyStocks.com's intraday analysis video, brought to you by the creators of proprietary price, pattern, and time methodology. Learn the PPT strategies and profit for life. Let's get started on this Thursday, August 21st, 2014. Markets continue to rally, floating higher. You can see what a gentle float it's been. I mean, if you look at every day over the last 4 or 5 trading days, you had this one gap up right here after the volatility last Friday, where we had that Russian kind of freak out midday. And after that, again, Monday gap up, floated up. Tuesday floated up. Wednesday floated up. Today's Thursday. We're floating up. And this is just one of those gentle into the holiday, which is, again, a week from Friday, a week from tomorrow, it will begin for the Labor Day holiday weekend. And again, volume super light. You should expect the markets with a minor down day here and there to generally go higher. Okay, guys, so definitely continue to expect that. And right now, the SPY is higher on the day by 76 cents. Again, if we look at the S&P 500, up 7.5 points, Dow's up 87, Nasdaq's up 6. So Nasdaq continues to lag a little bit, but again, still green on the day. Nasdaq eclipsed 4,500 earlier this week, and the S&P is closing in on that level that I gave you guys weeks ago as a potential target. That is, again, the 2,000 level on the S&P, and that will bring out the pumpers in the media, which in turn will help people spend money over the holiday, which in turn will stimulate the economy. That's at least what the Federal Reserve is hoping for. All right, so again, S&P 500 is now just 6 points away. One more day like today, and we're at that level. My guess is there's a chance it happens tomorrow because it would go into the weekend even before Labor Day. If not, it'll happen early next week, and they'll continue to float it up into the weekend to make sure it's above by a decent amount. All right. Having said that, let's just take a look at a couple other things here in terms of resistance on the S&P. Once you get through the 2,000 level, that's where you're going to start to really note some bigger resistance popping up, and something I'll be paying attention to in a possible short on the S&P 500. Also, the Nasdaq 100, as it's above 4,500 now, is also getting in a range where it looks very, very attractive as a potential short. I'm not going to pull the trigger on those just yet. Instead, I'm going to continue to watch closely. We are seeing some falls in gold today. Take a look at gold, down about $1.30. It is floating off of the low. You can see the support line down here worked perfectly on this hit. Then it came down here and got a little bit below and then bounced right back up. But again, we are seeing the gold chart bounce off a key level here. And I want to show you where this key level comes from. And by doing that, I need to go to the daily chart. It's basically a major gap fill. So here's a huge gap. And look at that. If you take the gap fill right there, look at that. Right to the level today that this thing pierced and bounced off of. So just again, the charting is so simple to do if you understand what's going on here. And by doing this, again, you can just simply, find the levels, play the levels, profit from the levels. That's simple. All right. Couple other things to go over here today. Oil today is basically trading back up a little bit. I actually still think oil will head a little bit lower until we get to the 34 Pierce level on the USO. But in the short term, it's getting a little bit of an interim bounce. Most likely what I'm thinking is they're going to bounce it into next week going into the holiday. Remember, the Labor Day holiday weekend is a 3-day weekend. A lot of traveling is done around this time. So the oil companies, gas companies, they want prices up a little bit so they can kind of maximize their profits from investors and from consumers and so forth. So we saw this into July 4th as well, and again, not a surprise to see it here going up and see a little bit of a bounce going into the holiday. JP Morgan Chase up a beautiful $1.06. This is one of the biggest leaders of the day in terms of Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks. Intel's also having a big day, which we'll talk about in a minute, but right now, take a look at that, guys. Beautiful move. You have to think at this stage of the game, you're going to go into the double top right up here. And this is going to be a 59 level. Will I be a shorter at that point? Honestly, I don't think so. If it gets up there, I think you might see it go a little bit higher. The one area that you should pay attention to is kind of just a little bit above the current level, which is this downsloping line. I don't think I'll short it into that as well because, again, think about the holiday coming up. They're going to float this market up anyway, so I don't think it's wise to necessarily do that. But, again, these are resistance levels I'm pointing out. I will most likely short. If you want to know where I will short, I will probably short right here. This is my level. All right, so again, assuming it goes straight up into next week, I would say a pierce of the even number of 60 is your bogey level. That's your target level. And again, that should be a very nice area. All right, a couple other stocks we want to pay attention to. I've talked about it more recently to you. UTX, if it gets up to this level, that's your key level right there. I think it's very possible by next week, towards the end of next week, to be up to that level. That price point is the 112.60 level. All right, so 112.60 on UTX. Also, BA, Boeing. Boeing continues to basically be flat to positive today, but this 200 MA and little pivot top right here is going to be the key level there. So there's a lot of good trade setups that are coming up. It's just a matter of being patient. Are you patient enough to wait for them to hit their levels so you get the optimal entry? Most investors aren't, believe it or not. Most of them, they can't hold back. They can't, they don't have that discipline. If you do, then the profits follow very, very quickly. All right. Intel, let's talk a little bit about Intel, because Intel's actually making a short-term new high here. See this big dump it had, and now it's all the way back. Intel's one of my favorite shorts next week as well. And again, oftentimes what you'll see is a double top breakout, and then it goes for a few days, and then it stalls out and collapses back down. And what ends up happening here is you have a lot of shorts that entered right at this high or entered a little bit below, and their stop-out price is a move above this high. So when that happens, they stop out of their shorts. And when you stop out or you get rid of a short, you cover a short, you actually have to buy the stock back, as a lot of you guys know. And what that is, it triggers more buying in the stock. So you have the natural buying of people buying the breakout anyway. So people are buying that huge amount of the breakout. And then you have the short covering, which is more buying. So that's why you get these bigger green candles here on a pierce of the high. It'll continue for a couple days, but then ultimately it should stall out and start to pull back. So again, a lot of potential great setups coming up. Now it's just really a matter of where it goes here in the short term and when we look and find the exact level. Okay, so that's something interesting there as well. Markets again continue to hover here. We got about 30 minutes left in the trading day, so just kind of coming towards the end. U.S. Steel is finally pulling back. This stock actually ran up hugely, and you can see a little bit of a topping tail right there. That was the signal right there on U.S. Steel, and look at it come back in. So beautiful little pullback. If we take a look at Facebook today, Facebook's pausing here. I still think Facebook's bearish on the chart. I really do. So that's something to watch. LinkedIn, LNKD. Let's just take a look at that one. Yeah, LinkedIn looks like it's trying to put in a short-term top here because you got a little bit of a topping tail here, but it is bouncing up a little bit today, just up $1 and change. So something interesting to watch there. Okay, Qualcomm today. Qualcomm continues to move up. Qualcomm, a lot of resistance at this gap window, 50 MA, guys. You're almost there. Most likely you'll tag that tomorrow if we go up just a little bit tomorrow. And then following that, if you get through, you're going to have another little level right above. This is actually a really nice area on Qualcomm for a potential short. In fact, I might take this tomorrow. Now, if you want to get the trade alerts, you need to join the Research Center. All right, the Research Center at InTheMoneyStocks.com. The 7-day free trial, if you've never been with us before, it'll let you check it out. But I'm telling you, there are some great setups showing themselves here. Really, really good setups. Be aware, be ready, because the profits will be flowing once we're patient enough and we get these levels. So come join us here at InTheMoneyStocks.com. Again, market generally will float higher, although most of the upside is limited to smaller moves, kind of like today. 5 points on the S&P, 7 points. You're not going to get the big up day, in my opinion, into the holiday because they just want to inch it slowly, carefully into that level. But again, eventually you're going to get above 2,000, maybe as early as tomorrow. We just need a 6-point move tomorrow, and once we get that, then you're looking for a little bit more upside above that, as you're going to get people buying it, and then you'll top out and come down, and you should actually get a really nice pullback again, something in the range of 5 to 10%, just like we had before on the markets. The last dip we had about, you can see it here on the spiders right here. So I think, and this time you'll actually come down here, small bounce off of this level here, and then you'll, after a small bounce up, maybe back to the moving averages, you'll start coming down to the 200. All right, have a great afternoon, great evening.